shortcomings of this team, nothing's ever going to change here in the state of hockey. It is always going to be work your way get into the playoffs and lose in the first or second round, sprinkled in with a few years of not making the playoffs at all. That's all it'll ever be. It's going to be that continuous freaking cycle that it's always been here in Minnesota. And I want that to end. The state of hockey deserves a championship. Lord Stanley's Cup has never been hoisted here in Minnesota. It's never been won by a Minnesota hockey team. Not the North Stars, not the Wild. And we call ourselves the state of hockey. We need to win that dang trophy. Just once. I mean, preferably more than once, but until we've won it at least one time, I mean, that's the focus, not this just commitment to mediocrity. You know, this contentment with just, not being the best ever, and that's okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be good. We're gonna be pretty good. That's what we're gonna be, and that's we're fabulous with that. We're gonna sign up for that. Like, drives me nuts, but I don't know. I like Scott Stevens a lot. Think he can very much do things from his coaching position to help make this team better. Whether it will result in more playoff wins and success, who knows? I doubt it. But that's just the Minnesota cynic in me. So anyway, done with balls on ice. Moving on to balls dribble, where we talk basketball, of course. Now, last night saw the Cleveland Cavaliers hosting the Golden State Warriors in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That, of course, would have been Wednesday night, June 8th, as I'm recording this Thursday here, June 9th, just a reminder. They were trailing the series down 2-0. They lost both games, 1 and Game 2, in Golden State. The first game by 15 points, the second game by 33 points. That 48-point margin is the largest ever combined victory margin in the first 2 games of NBA Finals history. So, speaking accurately from strictly a historical standpoint, no one has ever had their butts handed to them in the first 2 games as badly as the Cavaliers had their butts handed to them in the first 2 games by the Golden State Warriors. Now, other than the location of the game obviously being different in Game 3, the other main difference was that the Cleveland Cavaliers were without former Minnesota Timberwolf Kevin Love, who suffered a concussion after receiving a blow to the head in Game 2. He was still in the league protocol. I want to say that he could have played, he was medically cleared to play but chose not to. I could be wrong on that, but that was the impression I got, at least from everything I read. And if you think for any reason that makes a person soft, you're a moron. Okay, that has nothing to do with toughness or work ethic or morals, anything like that whatsoever. Dealing with brain injuries is a very unique, sensitive issue, and everyone, it's their health and life and well-being in their hands, so they have the right to choose to do with it and take it however seriously they want to. Kevin Love chose to sit out Game 3. And it was a good thing. I said it was going to be a good thing. I think they have better team chemistry and are more versatile, as well as better at their strengths when Kevin Love is not in the lineup. Kevin Love does 3 things for you, okay? Kevin Love is a good long court passer. He is a good outside shooter when he's on, which is streaky. And he's a good rebounder despite being a terrible defender somehow and not being very physical. But that's what he provides you. But when he gives you those couple things, there are a lot of defects in his game that you also have to accept. I feel like with this matchup, one of the reasons that the Warriors why it took them 6 games and Cleveland went up 2-1 on them last year was because the Cavs had no Kevin Love. It plays way better from a style standpoint in this matchup when the Cavs do not have Kevin Love on the floor. Am I saying that the Cavaliers are always better, period, when Kevin Love is not on the floor? No, absolutely not. But am I saying that they have a better chance of beating the Golden State Warriors every single game they play them if Kevin Love is not playing? Yes, I am saying that. And if you look at the team records versus one another over the last 2 years, when Kevin Love is in the lineup with a healthy Cavs team, and when he's not, the Cavs have a better winning percentage when he's not out there against the Warriors. It is what it is. It's not my opinion, okay? That's just making observations and drawing sensible conclusions from it. And I guess the one other thing that I feel I should point out that was better from the Cavs standpoint, or the two things, but the one kind of ties into Kevin Love, is the team defense in general was way, way better. Go figure, you take out a guy who plays significant minutes that can't defend or guard anybody out of your lineup, and your defense improves. Yeah, go figure. But not also that, but the production from the role players, primarily J.R. Smith, as well as the sidekick, that being Kyrie Irving. Those two players upped their games. It was night and day for both of them from games 1 and 2 to game 3. And if you look at the first 3 rounds of the playoffs for the Cavaliers, when they won their first, 10 games in a row, they swept round 1, they swept round 2, and they were up 2-0 in their conference finals. So when they won their first 10 games before ultimately heading to the finals 12-2 in the playoffs this year, during that period they were shooting lights out from 3-point range, and J.R. Smith was the leader of that whole barrage of offense that they found in those first 3 rounds of the playoffs, or 2.5 technically. And now I have no idea what the contributing factor for that is, if it's youth, if it's just personality, immaturity, lack of mental and emotional toughness. I have no idea why, but for some inexplicable reason, all of the Cleveland Cavaliers who are not named LeBron James play remarkably better at home in Cleveland than they do on the road. Now, obviously, if Cleveland at any point in time was to win this series, or is to still win this series, they have to win at least one game in Golden State, which has been difficult for everyone to do all year, with the exception of OKC. Well, no, they just won the one, but they got back-to-back wins on them. They were the only team. OKC in the Western Conference Finals became the first team all season, it was the first time, I should say, all season that the Warriors lost back-to-back games, period. And the Warriors will have to lose back-to-back games in order for the Cavs to get back into this series. Now, the next game, Game 4, also, of course, in Cleveland, will be tomorrow night or Friday night, depending on when you're listening to this, at 8 p.m. If the Cavaliers can tie that up, it is great for business. Now we got ratings and revenue, and this is fantastic. If the Warriors go up 3-1, everybody will pretty much check out. Just tune in for a little bit to see if the Warriors is tonight the Warriors win it? No, okay. Yep, it is. Okay, tune in at the end of the game. Watch them give their speeches and hold the trophy and whatnot. But if the Cavaliers can at least knot it up here at 2 games apiece tomorrow night, we've got a series on our hand, even though some people would tell you that the series would have not even started yet because the home team still hasn't lost. But anyway, either this final Game 5 or the pivotal Game 5, depending on what happens Friday night, will be held on Monday evening in Golden State at 8 p.m. Now, we focused on the Cavaliers up to this point. Let's just check in on the Warriors a tiny bit, and we'll talk our other few basketball topics. So far, through 3 games, Steph Curry has been mediocre at best. He is taking the loss from Game 3 on him, being the MVP as unanimously voted and the team leader. He is taking that on himself. I need to play better. That's why we got beat by 30 points. I'm sorry, Steph and the rest of the Golden State Warriors, but no team loses by 30 points because one guy on the team had a bad game or a subpar game. That's just not the case. Steph was maybe personally responsible for 10 points out of that 30-point deficit, tops. But even in games 1 and 2 where the Warriors won convincingly, Steph did not play great, did not have great numbers. In this, if and when the Warriors go on to win this finals, this championship this year, if and when that happens, it will be the second consecutive year that Steph Curry has won the regular season MVP, and then in the NBA Finals, not been the best or even the second most valuable player on his team when all the chips are in and everything is on the line. So, if that's the case, which it is, you can't argue that. That's inarguable. Those are facts, okay? Steph wasn't the most valuable player last year, and he's not going to be the most valuable player this year. If that's the case, is Steph Curry really the most valuable player of the regular season to his team? And the answer for the second consecutive year is, oh, hell no. Like, seriously, somebody needs to get the people voting on this award a gosh darn dictionary so that they can actually look up and understand what the correct definition of the word valuable is. Okay? If you were giving out the most outstanding player of the year award, yes, Steph Curry should have got it both last regular season and this regular season. If you were giving out the offensive player of the year award, same thing holds true last year and this year. But the fact is, it is a most valuable player award. And it is completely making a mockery of the title to simply have this default thought and idea that so many of us now subscribe to, not me, but so many of us, that the most valuable player is the best player on the best team. Could not be any more untrue. Sometimes, yes, that is the case. Okay, but that is not the criteria. That's not what we use to measure. Okay, Steph Curry at best is the third most valuable player in the NBA for the second consecutive year. Last year, James Harden was far more valuable to his team. Both years, last year and this year, Russell Westbrook is more valuable to his team. Both years, LeBron James more valuable to his team. Are they making the highlights that Curry is? No. Is their team winning the total number of games that Curry's is? No. Are all of their numbers as high or higher than Steph Curry's? No. But are Steph Curry's numbers great? He's got his three-point numbers and shooting numbers are phenomenal. Scoring numbers are phenomenal. All the rest of his numbers, I mean, I'm sorry, but for a starting point guard, I like 2 to 3 assists per game more than what Steph gets, and I like 1 to 2 turnovers less a game than Steph gets. Just saying, assists, turnovers, those aren't valuable statistics that tell us anything. Oh, yeah, wait, maybe they are. Very seldom gets rebounds, gets a fair amount of steals, but he gets burnt as many times, if not more, than how many steals per game he gets. So just the fact that he is the most impressive player on the best team in the league record-wise does not make him the most valuable player. Either change the name of the award to Player of the Year. Just take out valuable. Just take out our 2000. Next year it'd be the 2017 NBA Player of the Year. Then you can give it to whoever you want based off of whatever criteria you want, and it's fine. But as long as you're calling it a most valuable player award, you have got to get a better understanding of what the word valuable means and how you measure